I now have 5 banners in which I've demonstrated different techniques. So I'm going to take some fray check and put that on the ends of where I have my tails from my rolled hemming and my cover stitching. If you don't have a serger to do the rolled hemming, you can just leave that raw edge alone because your felt is not going to fray. Now I have, so I'm going to put fray check and then cut those ends off. I've marked the centers of each banner, lined them up. I've taken my ribbon and I used a water-soluble marking, folded it in half to find center, and then I marked out 6 3/4 inches, 2 to the left and 2 to the right, to line up with the centers of the banner. So I used a water-soluble marking because then I'm going to use some Steam-A-Seam 2 on the back of the ribbon rather than pinning. So this is Steam-A-Seam 2 light tape. So just like the Steam-A-Seam 2, it's double stick tape. So I can just take this and stick it to, it'll stick to the back of my ribbon and then press it so it's permanent. Now when I peel the tape off, it'll also be sticky and I'll be able to just stick that right down. I really try to avoid using pins when I'm using a serger or the cover stitch machine. So I'll be able to just simply stick this down, and then when I iron it, again, it will be permanent. But I can reposition as long as it's sticky, so I can just line up my center markings and stick that down, and then we'll go over your options for stitching the ribbon to the bennets. So now I have fused those on, I pressed them, so now it is permanently attached and ready for me to stitch. I'm now back to my cover stitch machine and I've disengaged the top cover, so now I just have a 2 needle cover stitch. So I've got the left and the right needles in. If you don't have a cover stitch machine, you might consider getting a twin needle, and you could do this on your regular sewing machine. It'll give you a little bit of the effect of a cover stitch because you'll have 2 stitches on the top and a zigzag type stitch on the back. So I'm just going to stitch down, and then as I get to the pennants, we'll just continue stitching right across the pennant. The clear view foot helps a lot, and I'm just centering the ribbon right down through. So this is a great way to add ribbons to things. You can top stitch them, and again, using the Steam-A-Seam 2 light tape makes it really easy to apply the ribbons and keep them in place. So now I'm getting to the first pennant and I can just stitch right over it. I don't have to worry about pins, and I'm just going to attach it and just keep going till I get to the end. And I'm just going to stitch right through all of the pennants. Now when I get all the way to the end, what I want to do is raise my needles and raise my foot. The needles are up, foot is up. I'm going to grab the needle threads and pull a little bit of slack toward me, and then I can pull straight back and then cut the thread. And what that does is that pulls this through to the back so it won't come undone. And again, I can put a little fray check on that. I can maybe turn that end under just to finish it off, give it a little top stitch. And now I completed my banner. So here's our finished banner with a number of different techniques. Again, you can use twin needle, you just stick this down. If you're working with any type of ribbon technique, just stick it down. You could always use a decorative stitch, you could use a top stitch, just lots of different options. So hopefully this lesson has given you some ideas on how to use your cover stitch, your serger, your machines, your embroidery machine, and all kinds of different options for achieving different techniques.